So here we are, leaving the Durbin Harbor, taking Estrella Dumar on her first sea trial. But wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's back up. As soon as our offer was accepted, we booked tickets to Durban for the survey and sea trial. We left Seattle on a beautiful sunny day.
We paid for a last-minute upgrade that was less than a quarter of the price that this seat normally is. And we're like, I don't know, like Country Hicks gone to New York City is what we look like. Because we're videoing everything.
I want to advise you about our service on board today. Estrella Airways takes our commitment to your safety, comfort, and well-being very seriously. With that in mind, our service has been temporarily modified.
Starting the trip out right. Cheers.
So they've even given us pajamas on this flight. Ready, John?
Yeah, this place is magical.
The flight from Seattle to Doha is 14 hours. After a short layover, we had another 10-hour flight to Johannesburg, and here we are, back in economy for that flight. And an hour later, we're landing in Durban. We stayed in a lovely little town about 10 miles north of Durban called Umhlanga Rocks, and had booked the Protea Marriott. After 40 hours of travel, we were exhausted, so we rested up and got going the next morning. From the hotel to the marina was only about 20 minutes, and we Ubered both ways every day. And here she is, our first look at Estrella Dumar. I spent weeks coordinating with the surveyor and the guy who was going to do the haul-out to make sure all of those things could be done while we were present. So we had agreed upon dates, and I booked plane tickets. Shortly before we arrived, we learned that the surveyor could not be there, and he had to do the survey before we arrived. This was not ideal. We agreed to this because the surveyor assured us that he would spend a day walking through the survey on the boat, showing us every detail. That did not happen. Every time he showed up, he spent a few minutes with us and always had some excuse of some other place he had to go. Thankfully, John knows his way around a boat very well, and he did his own survey. John was the one who found the major items that we really wanted repaired. Here I'll give you a little walk around. This is the anchor locker and the windlass. The windlass is the winch that pulls the anchor back up, so we don't have to do it by hand. This locker holds the Northern Lights 6 kilowatt generator, and it's running right now, so we have the air conditioning going. These are the freshwater tanks. They hold 206 gallons of fresh water. And here you see the storage locker for the anchor chain.
handlers kept these covers on the windows, which is great because it's really kept them in good shape, but you can see the covers are destroyed by the sun, so we're going to get that replaced.
Here you see a footrest. The prior owner had it built to make it more comfortable, so you have something for your feet to rest on while you're sitting at the helm. The downside is that it makes it pretty difficult to walk from the cockpit to the starboard side of the boat. Here is the salon and the galley.
Freezer, fridge. TV, there's a DVD player, some Wi-Fi. We'll have the Iridium Go so that we can connect with people. The settee, there's tools stored under here. There'll be dry goods and things stored under here. These cushions, this cloth material will go away, and I'll clean up this. It's very soft. I mean, it's just like calf leather. It's so soft. Hopefully that doesn't mean that it's easily damaged, but I don't like these cloth covers. They hold moisture, so they're out of here.
The port hull will be our hull for guests. The forward cabin is the smaller of the two, so I suspect we'll use this mostly for storage. The port head has a dedicated shower, but it's currently being used to store the outdoor cushions. The aft cabin will be ready for guests anytime you want to visit. The starboard hull is the owner's cabin. I'm really happy with the space that the owner's version provides. It's just going to make daily living much more comfortable. It's got a good size head with a dedicated shower. Lots of storage. Plus a handy desk area that also has a chart plotter and radar next to it. The owner's sleeping quarters are in the aft of the starboard hull. This small stool is really handy for getting in and out of bed, and it also has quite a bit of storage space. I'm not really sure what we'll decide to put where, but I am really liking all of this shelf space. And of course, I will fill up the hanging locker. It's really difficult to go from a full-size closet to a small boat. These next few photos are of the haul-out process. I thought I was videoing with the GoPro, but no, I just had it set to take photos every now and then. It's quite a different process. They have this little tray that they sail the boat up on top of. Then they lift it up and they haul it out with this rope and pulley system. And these gentlemen on the right side there, you'll see they have this big wheel and they literally roll you in with the rope and pulley system. Once the boat is high enough out of the water and the owner can get his tractor back there, he connects the tractor and literally drives the boat up into the parking place. It's a little bit worrisome that the weight of this whole boat is simply resting on 2 cross beams on each keel. Here John does his own walk-around inspection. The bottom isn't too bad for having been sitting in the water with very little use for a few years. I have no idea what I'm looking for on this sail drive, but I just thought I'd video anything I could. Thankfully, John knows what he's looking for. John detected a bit of a wobble in that port rudder, and so that is something that we did ask to have looked at and repaired. Thankfully, both sail drives checked out just fine. At this point, the men in the haul-out yard will power wash the bottom and then let it sit for 24 hours to dry off really well, and the surveyor will come back and do his bottom check.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Lovely boat. Are they going to give it a pressure clean?
Here we are, pulled out of the slip, headed out of the Durbin Harbor, and getting ready for the sea trial, which is basically a test drive.
I think it's made. A little bit. Yeah, watch the left. Yeah, keep going. That's it. Well, it's about okay. That's it. Okay, alright, let's see the
I've popped this block here before.
Okay.
So normally the boat will go up on this winch.
Okay.
So
Do you want us to do you want to take it up on the last bit on there?
it's made, I think. I tell you what, I'll sweat it, and if it sweats, then we can go up a little bit more.
But let's leave it like that. There's wind is so out.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any, we're blowing 25 knots on it. So let's just get
The gentleman sitting at the mast is Lolly, and he is the man who has been taking care of this boat for the owner for many years. And he was invaluable to us, very helpful in so many ways, and we really appreciate him. At the helm is Tiger, and he is a professional captain that we will be talking to about helping us from Durban to Cape Town. And Tiger has with him his 13, 14-year-old son, who was the most polite, most helpful young man. The Durbin Harbor is an intimidating place. It is full of tankers and shipping containers. It is the largest and busiest shipping terminal in sub-Saharan Africa. It handles 31.4 million tons of cargo each year, and it's the fourth largest container terminal in the whole southern hemisphere. And we're sailing.
This area is called Umhlanga Rocks for obvious reasons. Umhlanga is the name of the town. It has been going through a redevelopment, and there are a lot of really nice businesses, hotels, residents. So this is a mixture here of residence, hotel, and a mall. This is the Whalebone Pier. It was installed because this large part underneath it is an extension of a stormwater drain. And that stormwater drain used to actually drain out into this area here that is called Granny's Pond or Granny's Pool, one of those two. But it left really stagnant, gross water in this pool because the waves only come over the rocks at high tide. So they extended it and then decided to make something creative out of it. So it's a beautiful place to walk out on. And it keeps those little swimming pools clean and clear. It's a beautiful sandy beach.
The Whalebone Pier was officially opened in 2007. It has won a lot of engineering awards, as well as top billing in a list of the world's most beautiful piers. The Umhlanga Lighthouse was completed in 1954, and its construction only took 4 days and 19 hours. It has a fixed red light that enables the ships waiting to anchor in the outer anchorage before they enter Durbin Harbor to monitor their position. If the red light is undetectable, it suggests that the ship's anchors have probably dragged and they are too close to the shore. The best entertainment other than the beach were these little cheeky vervet monkeys. Our week in Umhlanga and Durban have come to an end. We have asked the seller to fix a few things, mostly minor, with the exception of the rudder, that being most important. And we now go back to Seattle and await his reply.